Yes.
Wow, today has been awesome.
Praise God.
And I feel bad for those who are missing it.
Amen.
But I know I can look at these women in this room and know you all gonna tell them about what
Praise
happened
God.
here today.
Praise God.
The message will be delivered.
Amen.
Like Keisha said, we met about 4 or 5 years ago. I became an advocate. And also what she said, when you say, okay, Lord, use me, it starts happening fast. I mean, getting our 501c, throwing us out there. My first speaking engagement was to district attorneys and victim service advocates. And I'm thinking, okay, Lord, I'm new to this. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that. And I panicked. I changed my presentation 2 or 3 times. But I just went and I was speaking. I had a counselor who was a spiritual counselor at the time who would tell me, look, Darlene, he's not going to give you more than you can handle.
Right. All right.
I said, I know, but I just started studying this thing and I'm still learning about it. And what can I say to these judges? And what can I say to them about this crime that they don't already know?
All right.
But they didn't know my story.
Yeah.
And they didn't know how it affected my family. They didn't understand the resources we needed to heal as a family. So I told them that and educated them about some things that we all as advocates should understand. And I got all excellence on my evaluation and other things, but it was all right. So I was thinking, they're going to eat me for lunch. But it was a positive experience, and from that, my advocacy and my organization began to grow. Ina Mae was my baby sister. Our organization is the Mae Greene Foundation for my sisters, and that's for all of my sisters who are affected by violent crime. And going back to listening to this young lady's testimony, as children, it is our job as parents to take care of them and protect them. It's not the other way around. When I was in my violent marriage, my son told our minister that he was going to kill my husband in his sleep. And at the time, I didn't understand what that really meant. But I found out later, when I became an advocate, that 63% of young boys who are in prison for murder between the ages of 11 and 20 are in there for killing the man that was abusing their mother. Now, thinking back on that, how real could that have been? My son's life would have been over because I couldn't make a decision to leave a bad situation. So we have to remember, it's our job to protect them.
Right.
It's not the other way around.
Amen.
We put them there. They didn't ask to be in a situation where they were going to be mistreated and abused and put into fear. Now, none of this is part of what I'm supposed to say today, but I just felt like I wanted to share that. I am a domestic abuse survivor. On my wedding day, the day that I got married, my husband of about 30 minutes got out of our car. We were going into the house. He started walking a little ahead of me. So I'm thinking, because he loved me so much, and we dated for 6 months before we got married because he couldn't wait to marry me because he loved me so much. He got to the front door, so I stepped back because I'm thinking, okay, he's going to carry me over the threshold, right? He turned around and he said, now you're going to see who's really running things. He had never been anything but kind and supportive, loving before, so I'm thinking, what is he talking about? He slammed the door in my face. That was the beginning of physical, emotional, financial, and spiritual abuse. How did I get there? How did I end up in this place? I don't look like what the world perceives a domestic abuse victim to look like. I had education. I had friends and family. I had resources. My grandmother used to say, Darlene has a good job, whatever that meant. But I was not supposed to be that person. How did I get here? When I was a little girl, I would sit and listen to my aunts and my grandmother talk in the kitchen. They would talk about the family and things. And they would say that the women in our family were cursed. That none of us would ever be in a healthy relationship with a man. Now, even as a young girl, that sounded strange to me. I didn't understand that because I didn't know what was happening in my family. Because not only did I lose my sister to domestic violence, I lost my aunt, my mother's sister, and my first cousin to relationship violence. They were all murdered by men they dated. I didn't understand as a child, of course, what was happening in my family, why this was happening to all of us. So, in order to understand how smart women end up in domestic violence situations, you have to understand, you know, where you came from. We accepted violence as part of our family legacy. We didn't know that it wasn't a curse, but a cycle. Okay. The reason 3 women in my family died from relationship violence, because we didn't understand that we could do something about it. We accepted that this is what happens in relationship. When Aunt Sue and Uncle George would get into a fight at the family reunion, the next day we saw them holding hands and in love again. So that's how relationships go, right? You fight, you disagree. And I learned later when I became an advocate, there are ways you can disagree. You're adults. You're not going to agree on all issues all the time. But it's how you disagree that's important. If I tell my husband to put his cup in the sink when he's finished drinking, and he says, okay, dear, no problem, or he'll discuss, well, you know, I wasn't thinking about it, I'm sorry, or he throws it at you. There is a different system of disagreeing. Is how you agree and how you disagree that matters. But before I became an advocate, in my family, we didn't understand that. So even though I was in a violent marriage, I was not motivated to speak out about domestic violence. I lost my aunt, my cousin, my sister. But it was until my sister's murder that I knew something had to change. Something had to be different, because we couldn't keep repeating this cycle again in our family. So I learned about domestic violence. I studied this crime to understand what it was and why people perpetrated pain and why we kept going back for more. You know, why do we stay in these situations? Why do we continue to let someone disrespect us and physically abuse us, physically hurt our children? Because when a woman is in a violent marriage or relationship, 70% of the time he's also abusing her children. Why do we keep doing this? Why do we go back? So I studied this crime and tried to understand what was going on with my family and with my sister. My sister, Ina Mae, she was our baby. She was a baby in our family. And she had been in this abusive relationship for years. My sisters and I, even though we had a lot of dysfunction going on, we were close. We lived in my mom's house together. It was my sister Ina, myself, and my sister Deborah. We raised our kids together, we partied together, we roller skated together, we were party dolls in the neighborhood. My sister Ina loved to dance. She was always, you know, making jokes and you know, making people laugh, and she was a great, great dancer. It hurt us to see her continue to be in this violent and abusive marriage, but we didn't know what to do. Like families do, we would say, girl, you need to stop dealing with that. You need to leave him. Because we didn't know what else to say to her, because to us, it was just a part of life. So she would leave him, maybe for a couple of days, but she would always go back to him. Always. She was like a lot of women. She had 4 children. She felt like she couldn't make it on her own, that she needed his financial support. And also often women who are in violent marriages, I don't know why I'm wearing these glasses because I am not reading this paper. They don't understand that abuse can be a trap that looks like love, that you can believe you love this man, or you can believe that you're going to help him do better. And if I just stay and just take it and let him see how much I love him by accepting this behavior, one day he'll wake up and he'll see how wonderful I am and he'll stop. No, that's not going to happen. It's not. We cannot fix him. You can only help yourself. And the thing you have to do first is to remove yourself from this situation. But my sister had 4 babies, and she really felt that she had no choice but to stay in this relationship. But it was taking a toll on her, obviously. It was taking a toll on her children because the abuse was very physical, very violent. And he was also abusing her 2 daughters that were not his biological children. But one day, she really did have enough. We know that domestic violence, relationship violence is unhealthy, that it's not healthy for our children continue to watch their mother, aunt, cousins continually be abused and victimized. So she decided to leave him. She came to my office to tell me, I'm leaving him for good. I made up my mind. I'm going to stay with our parents in Michigan until I get myself together. I was elated, of course, because we knew that that was not the life for her, but she was grown. We knew she knew what she was doing. If it gets real bad, she would leave. Because again, we didn't know. We didn't have anyone to tell us that the outcome of this thing could end with her dying. So the last day I saw my sister, when she came to tell me that she was leaving him, it was the day before her 30th birthday. I bought her lunch to start her birthday celebration, and I told her when I came back in town, I was leaving town for business, that I would take her out. We would really celebrate, because that's what we did. You know, we were sister friends. We partied all. So we were going to go out and celebrate her turning 30 and her liberation, taking back her life for herself and her babies, leaving him for good. My sister's husband was a Cook County sheriff in Cook County, Illinois. So he was a trained observer. He noticed my sister was different that day when she was going to work. Domestic violence and domestic abuse is about control and manipulation. So he would do things to her before she left to go to work to make her angry or afraid, so that she's thinking about him all day. So they're not even in the same room, but yet he's still controlling her. But on this day, there was nothing he could say. There was nothing he can do, because she knew it was over. She was leaving. He couldn't get to her. He saw that her behavior was different. Now, if I knew then what I know now, I really believe my sister would still be alive, because the first thing I would have told her is don't act any different. Whatever you do, do it the same way. But he saw her behavior, so he became suspicious. Something's different today. He came home from work early. He dismissed the babysitter. He began to search the house. He searched all the rooms. He came into the girls' room, a room that he normally didn't go into because he didn't have a relationship with her daughters. He was abusing them. But this night, he went into the room and he found the black garbage bags that she had hidden all of the things that she was planning to take with him when she left. When she got home that night, he started an argument about her coming home late, anything trivial, just so that I could start this fight. In her mind, it's over, I'm leaving tomorrow, there's nothing to fight about. She changed her night dress, trying to walk away from him, but he followed her until he finally engaged her in an argument. And she said to him, you know, I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this. He hit her in the head with a Coke bottle. At that point, she could see that, okay, this is getting ready to get very physical. So she tried to run from him toward her bedroom. He grabbed her and knocked her into the wall so hard that it cracked the plaster. Her 10-year-old daughter was trying very hard to help her mother fight off her attacker. She was kicking at him and hitting at him, and my sister kept trying to push her out of the way, of course. He took his revolver out of the top dresser drawer, and to this day, I really don't know how my sister was still standing, but she did speak to him. He pointed the gun at her 10-year-old little girl who was trying to help her fight, and she said, don't shoot her, shoot me. My sister's last act was to push her daughter out of the room before the gun fired. Why did this continue to happen to us? We didn't know anything about domestic violence hotline. We didn't know anything about a 1-800 number, call police victim services. We didn't know to help my sister that we would need a safety plan that should include her friends, her family, her church, and maybe even her place of employment. Why had no one in our community told us that if you're in a violent and physical relationship, it's okay to be afraid, but ask for help? Why did we not know that it's okay to be in trouble, but to ask for help? Why did we not know that it was not a question of our character, because we had chosen to love this man, but we could leave him and do something about it, and it was okay to ask for help? Why didn't we know that? We didn't know anything that we could do as a family to help my sister save her life, other than say to her, you can come and live with us when you get tired. Because we never, not one of us, ever thought this would end with her